Hi, good morning, everyone. And this is Abigail Sacramento. And today I'm actually listening to January Donovan about the scripts on how to manage and how to help our children manage their fears. And really, we're living in a different, with uncertainty this year. And it's really just easy for us to be feeling overwhelmed and feeling very scared, but then we how could we help our children to rise and with us with that pandemic? And then are we just gonna choose to be scared and then be fearful, or are we showing, as mothers, are we showing how to our children how to stand up and to manage our fears? And so yes, I'm just gonna share to you here. I'm watching.
How should we teach our children to manage the fears that's going on right now, and that the reality that we're living in is a new world, and it's a new world that most of us are unfamiliar with. And what we can do, we have two options. We can either lead our children to this fear, which is not good for their health, their immune system. It makes them susceptible when they're stressed and they're anxious and they're constantly worried. Or we can help them actually rise together with us during the season, so as a family we give birth to a more resilient human being, including ourselves. And so I want to just give you a little bit of a training, really simple, so that we can kind of keep perspective. Because right now, at times, it is hard to keep perspective with the reality and how quickly the virus is changing, the cancellation is changing, how quickly our life changed. It's almost like it was overnight. Now we're homeschooling. I work, and I manage. I run a whole company, and now I'm home. I have to homeschool. I have a baby. I am a mom of seven, running a company, now homeschooling. So there's a lot of real transitions that need to happen. And so it's important for us to really be focused on managing our mindset and being focused on solution and how we can bridge hope here. So my name is January Donovan. I am founder of the Women's School, where I've trained thousands of women and to expand their mindset, really to build resilience, and also um, build skill sets so that we can rebuild our women's worth. So that's what I've been doing. But this is really because right now, so many of our women and in the women's school family are just kind of lost, and they need a little bit of recalibration during the season. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen so that I can just give you a little bit of um, focus here. So, scripts to help your children manage fears. Fear is real, okay? However, we manage them. We don't hide from them, nor do we indulge in them, and it's dangerous. And fear is, that part of our brain that tells us to say, okay, flight, right, or fight. It actually helps us stay alive. It's not a bad thing. Right now, those fears need to be used proactively to help us prepare, but not help us get pummeled and live in that constant fear. So we need to learn how to manage the fear. So let's just kind of bring perspective here in this situation. I think our children right now are trying to make sense of the situation because it's new to them just as it's new to us. They're hearing bits and pieces. They're probably hearing our conversation. Depending on how old your child is, my children age all the way from 7 months all the way to 12 years old. So I've got a gamut. So we really try to have conversations with them. We bring them all together in the morning or in the evening and give them a little bit of an update that is age appropriate, and most of the time it's age appropriate for all of them. Right now the world is changing dramatically. There's a lot of unknown, and I need your help, right? And so the way you manage these difficult moments will really determine how also they manage your difficult moments. They're watching you manage your fears. They're watching you model anxiety. They're watching you how you live unknown situations, because right now it is not about certainty. It's about living peacefully amidst the uncertainty, and that is absolutely possible. It's a skill in itself. It's a way of thinking, and it's knowing, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I am grateful for what I have right now. And that has to be the perspective that we actually infuse to our children and say, today we will make the most of the gift of today. And we can hope for an incredible, beautiful tomorrow, that this too shall pass. But in this season, let's manage these moments. And that's how we need to be able to talk to them. And, a 4 year old, a 7 year old, a 10-year-old can understand this conversation, right? You can model how serious the situation is, but at the same time, be joyful in those little moments. You can say, you know what? It is serious. I sit down with them. I just sat down this morning and say, it's serious. We just learned that it's X, Y, and Z, and that it's not spreading, and that schools are canceled, and you might not have school for the next month, or maybe till the end of the year, right? However, you we can have a dance party in between. We can have karaoke in between, and so it's knowing that yes, this is serious, but more than anything, we live our present moment with joy, knowing okay, things are changing, but we can be grateful for what we have, right? And that it's okay to tell them about your concern, because my daughter Pia, she asked me, she's like, Mom, are you worried? Have you ever lived in this time in history? And I said, Pia, it's definitely new to me, and it's definitely a cause for concern. Um, but I am really managing my mind so I can stay hopeful and actually make sure that I am taking care of you. And she's 10. I have a 9-year old, and that's the conversation that we're having with her. And so, listen to their fears and kind of where they're coming from. And at the same time, you don't have to, pretend like you're not actually needing to manage your mind. You have to pretend that this isn't a fearful season, that you have to, but at the same time, they watch you manage those fears, that you're not pummeled by them, that you're saying, okay, this is how we rise from this moment, right? We have to manage our hard conversations so we don't focus on what we can't control, but rather solutions. So you just say, what's the solution here? This is what we can control: our nutrition, our sleep, our health, our bodies, our thoughts. Our mindset controls so much of our immune system, and so my children know that. And you can talk to them about the 5 key ingredients, which we'll talk about later on how to actually stay healthy. Right? Fear is a natural response. How we respond to fear becomes how becomes, I think, the determining factor in how it really mentally, emotionally, physically affects us. Right? you know, this is a time to rise. And we have to see this as a gift. And if you, as a mom and as a parent, can, amidst seeing everything, say, this is a privileged moment, this is an opportunity, and we must see the gift of this moment. And so if we focus on that, and we have to really give them those language in that conversation, because part of the battle, moms, is that there is no language for the struggle. So they're seeing all this stuff, they're thinking all this stuff, but they don't even have words for it. So what I would, I think would be very helpful for them is that you model those words, that you use words that they can actually understand. Okay. So here's some of the things that I tell my children to help, I think, recalibrate the perspective during the season, is that I just sat them down and say, listen, we can't waste material. Ziplocs are really important, and we can't waste soap. We can't waste, food. If let's be very vigilant in making sure that we don't waste. And maybe we've wasted a lot of things before, or they did, and they didn't have perspective on the importance. But right now, I told them, I said, listen, Walmart could close. They're changing hours. Grocery store closed. We need to make sure that we are managing our materials, we are managing our food. There's no snacks all day long. 3 o'clock to snack, and that's fruit, and that's it. Right? There's no overindulgence. We need to make sure that we create that rhythm, that perspective, so that we're not wasting and living kind of not aware that things could change tomorrow. Right? We have to do our part to help at home while mom and dad are working. Some of you might be working, some of you, the dad's working and it needs to be quiet or whatever. And there could be, moments where, your job could be vulnerable, right? And so you could be looking for another job, or you could be thinking, and so you have to ask them and say, listen, I need your help during this season. Mom has to work, dad has to work. We have to keep things afloat. I need you to, watch your brother, maybe do a craft with them, and you're supervising, but let them rise and give them the opportunity to help you and contribute. And remember that their contribution is evidence of their worth. It does not make them more valuable or less valuable as a human being, but if they can see, wow, I am genuinely helping mom and dad, they start to consider their own worth, and they start to see their own value. Because one of the things that I always fight with the adults is that they don't see the value. And understanding, that our value is objective and not subject to what we have, what we don't have, our possession, our perfection. But the problem is, we need to actually understand that our value is objective by giving them evidence that they're valuable, that their help is valuable. You actually help convince them of their values. So giving them meaningful work is evidence that they're a meaningful human being. So what a better time right now to say, listen, I really need your help. I need you to do your laundry. I need you to, a 7-year-old can do them. I mean, you need to obviously supervise them, but they're far more capable than what we actually sometimes give them credit for. And so, what my children this morning, they know they have to make. I have the older ones. When I say older, it's the 7-year-old or the 12-year-old. They come down, and that is our expectation: is that their beds are made, their rooms are clean, and that they have stations in the house that they're responsible for, and that they can put their laundry back, they can do laundry, and that's their responsibility, especially because there isn't any school. So you set the right tone of expectation, and you say, I expect more of you during the season because I need your help, right? So I just would give them the stations and dining room or the laundry. um, we need to cultivate hopeful conversations amidst the craziness. So while you're folding laundry or giving them, and say, listen, let's have a dance party, right? And right now for my own children, they I commissioned my 12-year-old, and they have what is it called, days where, Monday my older one is watching my 3 and 4-year-old and reading them a book, and I have kind of sort of a plan for them. I have books and puzzles, and they play house, and they've got a couple hours that they play together, and every day one person is charged: my 7-year-old, my 9-year-old, my 10-year-old, my 12-year-old, and they're just there. Their responsibility is to actually work with the other children, whether it's reading a book or working right alongside them or doing a craft. It's not mommy and daddy. And remember, we're not here to entertain our children. That perspective is really damaging, because it sets them up for failure when they think that they have to actually entertain the world. When they feel like they grow up as adults and they need to be entertained, and they realize nobody's entertaining me. What is wrong with the world? Oh, this is awful. And they grow up to be entitled. They need to actually come up with their own ways to entertain themselves. Boredom is a gift. I mean, if you study all the geniuses, whether it's Elon Musk or Einstein, or they talk about, of Steve Jobs, they talk about boredom as a necessity for creativity. And so, what a brilliant time to be bored, because right now we're all in quarantine, right? So we need to be, really switch all the mindset here and perspective. And this is why mothers' mindset and women's mindset need to be resilient during this time. I cannot tell you, there is no better time to elevate our mindset and to build new skills and new ways of thinking than now, because more than ever they need women to lead and become a light in the world. More than ever, our families are counting us in this time really of chaos. So yes, it is a time to invest in our own growth, because now our families need us to rise, right? Because right now you have to be able to talk to them and say, there's going to be inconveniences, and I'm going to need your help by focusing on the things that we are grateful for, and not complain about what we don't have. Because there are, if there's no toilet paper, or we can only get 2 eggs now. Publix has just announced that we can only get 2 eggs. I'm like, well, we have a big family. So we used to have eggs, a couple eggs every morning, but maybe they can only have 1 egg. So there are sacrifices in this moment, and it's time for us to learn to recalibrate and be flexible during the season, and not get bent out of shape, but just be grateful for an egg, not 2 eggs, right? Um, it's really important for us to help them manage gratitude, right? Gratitude for the sky, gratitude for the stars, gratitude for that there's food on the table, and just gratitude that there's internet, or that they can still watch a movie. And so that's how we really help them during the season, to replace fear, to replace anxiety, to focus on gratitude and solution, right? How can we use this time to rebuild our resilience? How can we use this time to rebuild our dreams? How can we use this time to rebuild ideas? And I believe it was Edison, perhaps, that it was during a time of Great Depression that he created all these invention. I don't want to butcher it, because I just saw it. It was floating around the internet, and I just thought it was brilliant. In the darkest times, he created all the inventions, and he was able to figure out all these different geniuses that now are changing the world. It's gonna bother me that I don't have it, but that's our call during the season. What is it that we're called to do, right? So here's a few scripts that you can use. And it says, for yourself, this is a new season, and I need you to help all of us to stay healthy. Okay, so this is how you talk to them. This is a new season. I need you to help all of us stay healthy. We're going to witness some suffering. We have to pray for our world and focus on how we can help without compromising our health. You sit down, you talk to them. We can't change the external circumstance. We can manage how we see what is happening, right? And in our home and for myself, I always use the script: life is happening for me, not to me. Life is happening for me, not to me. I need your help more than ever. We have to work together to get through this. I need your help more than ever. We have to get through this. I expect you to honor the boundaries that support peace at home, because then you start to see the siblings, and you start to see a lot more interaction that is good, actually, because sometimes we think interaction is bad and they're fighting, but they're actually learning how to have conversation, when before they were in school and they weren't really having conversation. So now it's practice time, and that's how we have to look at it: finding the good and seeking the good in every situation. Okay, so here's scripts for your children that you can actually use to them. And in my house, we have a script book in our kitchen. We write, recite, repeat, retreat. They write it, they recite it, they go in the mirror, and it helps them to actually be proactive in how they should talk to themselves. Words become flesh. The words we use create our perspective. So it's so important for us to actually give them scripts. So here's some scripts that you can give them. I'm grateful to have a home and family. I have a great opportunity to rise today. I choose to see the good in every situation. I am helpful and ready to take action to serve. I am patient with all the challenges in the season. I am calm and hopeful. I am responsible with my word. I am resilient. I am strong and healthy. My children say that all the time. How can I help you today, Mom? So these are scripts you can give them, and you can put them on the board. Put them on. I have a what is it called? A whiteboard in my fridge where I put my schedule, my scripts, my menu, and it's all. And as a matter of fact, I did a training on how to do your schedules to kind of keep it really easy. Okay. So I hope that serves you, ladies, and remember that it's a time where we truly can rise and help our children rise by helping them rise above the fear, manage it, and use it to actually bring light and hope in the situation. And I believe that if we are really intentional in the season, this is going to give birth to a beautiful family life. This is going to give birth to a new you, and also to help our children gain deeper appreciation and perspective for the beautiful life that we have, beginning with how we model our perspective and how we live, and be grateful for this life that we've been given. All right, I'll see you in another training on how to manage the season of quarantine.
Okay, so yeah, isn't it really, really great, right? We don't really focus on, oh, the pandemic is too scary. Oh my gosh, like we're just so out of control. Like our mind is, we need to manage our time, our mind. And so, because we have children around us, so it's very important for us to be the role model, to be, to focus on the positive, and then we should have the scripts on what to we use in our home, instead of saying I'm fearful, oh my god, it's so scary, it's so crazy. We need to be aware of what we are telling our children, and what are we talk what are we saying to ourselves. So yes, this is really, I just would like to share with you guys, and I know it's very, it's new for us. It's something that this never happened before. So yes, that's how we manage our fears. And yeah, I just learned a lot from this, from January Donovan. So I hope that you stay safe, and thank you for watching. And I hope that you have learned a lot of, you have picked up a lot of ideas here. So bye, and thank you for watching.